What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, but we are back with Battle Birds podcast. We are missing one. He had some things he had to clean up. Everything good on him on his end, though. He'll be joining us shortly. But we got the Minnesota Vikings coming to Philly. They're already here. First game at the Link in 2022, the home opener. How we feeling, Steve?
Excited, man. Home opener. This is a big time opponent, man. This is a good team. Like, I know that we can make the argument they haven't played a whole lot of January football because I've been stating that in some comments with people. But the fact is that you always have to account for the teams that didn't make the playoffs the year before that are going to make it this year. And I think Minnesota's probably going to win the NFC North, if I'm being honest, straight up.
Yeah. I think they had some problems on the defensive side of the ball last year, and they went ahead and sure some things up. Zadarius Smith is what that defense needed in the middle, and what he's able to do, whether it's stopping a run, blitzing, just being around the football, I think that changes the complexity of what the Minnesota Vikings are. Offensively last year, Kirk Cousins, I forgot what he had, 30 plus touchdowns, 4,200 plus yards. They've never been pedestrian on the offensive side. I think, Dalvin Cook's always been a top 10 running back. They got weapons. Kirk Cousins could sling the ball. It was defensively where they were challenged. And this year already, in a small sample size, we're going off week one. And the Packers do normally play some ugly football week one. And there was a lot meat left on the bone. Rodgers said it himself at the Pat McAfee show. Like, man, we were inside the 10 twice, couldn't capitalize. And my man dropped a 75-yard breadbasket pass. Come on, Christian Watson. So
yeah, you brought up a lot of good points, Mike. I mean, to begin with, like, I account for like 5 players on their defense that I think are impact players, which are Danielle Hunter, Zadarius Smith, Jordan Hicks, Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith. Those 5 dudes are the real dudes. I mean, half of their defense, it can play. They got some off-ball linebackers, man, that I think can play. Even by, like they got some young guys. Brian Asamoah from Oklahoma. I think, young dude's got to get his feet under him, but I think he's a good young rookie to kind of get into a rotation for them. Troy Dye has never quite lived up to what they thought he was going to be, but new coaching staff, new system might bring a little bit more production there. But the one area I do think the Eagles are going to have an advantage, and I'm curious how they attack this, is number one, in the middle of the trenches. I do think there's an advantage there for the Eagles. But number two, I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. I see y'all in the comment section. Your secondary is complete and utter trash. I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Hey, I agree. I think what they were able to do to the Packers was mainly about that front. It was that front. Hicks had like 14 plus tackles. They were around the ball. But again, we saw at least a 75-yard bomb where the secondary just gave up one, and the Packers couldn't capitalize. Real quick, though, shout out to David Lebron with the $2 super chat. He said Hurts needs to account for 350-plus yards total. That means rushing and passing. Last week, he accounted for about, 333? Mr. Hurts season hat. I know that's LB, but you rocking it. You think he can hold up that 350 total yardage for Jalen Hurts in this game?
I mean, look, it would be nice to be done. I'm hoping that – I'm going to go on a limb here and say that just the style that Ed Donatell runs in terms of the defense, it's going to be harder for Jalen to gash you in yardage on the ground this game just because they're going to account for him. They're going to play zone behind that pressure front, and they're going to have somebody eyeing Jalen Hurts at all times, I guarantee you. So I definitely think Jalen's still going to get his numbers at the end of the day, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as Detroit made it, because when you come full house and you're playing man behind it, you better get to the quarterback or someone like Jalen Hurts is going to punish you bad. So I don't think you're going to get those type of opportunities, but this is a game that if Jalen Hurts can elude the pass rush and can just move the pocket and give his receivers time, that's where you might see the high total yard come from the passing game this time around. 350 is a big number, though, Mike. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's a huge number, bro. I mean, I hope so, but I don't know if I'd put my money on it per se, but yeah.
Yeah, talking about that 350, again, the zone, there's going to be opportunities, as you said, for him to run off, but I don't think he's going to gash him for the long one. I think you're going to have some chain moving runs, of course, but the 20-plus yard runs are going to be limited for sure. And again, it depends on how much time the offensive line gives If they're going to send the house, we're going to need to, fix up the protection. I know Kelsey spoke about it. Isaac Samalu, some miscommunications on that front. They got to clean that up. But again, the things that need to be cleaned up will get cleaned up. I'm confident in what this offensive line is going to be towards the end of the season. And it's about Jalen Hurts just, seeing the field. I know a lot of zones going to be thrown at him. And now it's really up to his pre-snap read. Get the motion, move our players around, try to help identify what's going on in front of Jalen Hurts, and then let these playmakers get the ball. Do you believe on that first scripted 10 plays, Devontae gonna get the first catch, right?
Honestly, when I went back and I was watching the All-22, Mike, they were trying to feed Devontae the ball. I mean, there was a couple of forced throws in there where they were trying to get him involved in the offense. Some of it wasn't his fault. There was one play to where he had a really, you even caught it out on your video. He had a really good kind of like out route that, he really shook free. Unfortunately, there was a holding penalty. So it negated it and brought it back. And then he had one play to where he got mixed up, man. He had a mental error to where it was a fade route. He didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. He's downfield blocking instead of realizing he's the target. That one kind of hurt. Then he had a drop coming back to the ball, which is a tough catch, but it was certainly a catchable football. So, there were opportunities for him to make plays, especially early on. I just got a gut feeling, Mike, that they're going to come out and try to set a tempo, an attitude. And, we'll see. I think someone's going to be RPO based, so it's going to depend upon what they try to do in terms of the coverage they play behind us and basically what goes on in terms of, A.J. Brown and Devontae and who's shaken free from that zone coverage system. They played a ton of quarters. They did a lot of quarters. I heard a lot of stuff that, post-snap, you saw them kind of play a little bit of that carry matchup type defense. We'll see if that kind of continues this game, but that's what I would expect them to do. That's, they're Vic Fangio copies just like we are. We're all just kind of copying Vic Fangio's defense.
Yeah, and there was another play where Devontae ran a route. He kind of went in a little bit, and then he went out. He shook totally free, but that was just a blitz from the Lions. Hurts had to roll out to his left right away. It was one of them plays where, he's open, but he's not running a quick enough, a hot route on that one. But it just goes to show that, Devontae is going to get open. And I think it was just like, I think they, like you said, if you really look at that first couple drives, they made it a point to go at him. And it was just some misfortune, whether he was, ran the wrong route because he was blocking instead of running his fade route, the one drop he had, the catch that got called back. And then it just, they forgot about him for a little bit after that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. David, though, with the $2 super chat again, he said he had almost 200 passing yards in the first half against the Lions. Yes, he went into half with 189 yards, and that's where, the second half he had to combine 189 to 243. So that's like 60 yards, 50 something yards, and it's because we, started running the ball more. We took the foot off the gas pedal per se on both sides of the ball. It happens. Look, if A.J. Brown is beating man coverage like that, or is A.J. Brown and Devontae are finding gaps in this zone, I expect Jalen Hurts to be able to throw the ball for 275-ish for sure. And then you see what goes on with his legs. But how do you feel about the Eagles continuing to pound the rock as well with Miles and the running back crew? 6.2 yards per carry in the opener against the Packers. Now, on one of my other videos, I had Viking fans say, look at this guy's logic. The Eagles give up 9 yards per carry, and he's worried about our 6. The funny thing is, us giving up 9 has nothing against them giving up 6. I'm talking about what I want to do to you. If you think we are soft against the run, by all means, run it with Dalvin. But me talking about your 6 and wanting to run the ball has nothing to do with us giving it up. Well, then you should want to do it to us. Do you think the run game's going to be involved heavily?
I would suspect to an extent it's going to be. I thought that they showed week 1 that there's still a commitment to the running game. I do think that some of it will come off the RPO reads, though. That's always the things that you can't account for, right? Is I don't know how often Jalen's going to look over things and say, you know what, I like Devontae on this read. I like A.J. Brown on this read. I like Goddard on this read over the run. So that's the part I can't predict. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's always going to be 10 plays to where it can go either, you know what I mean? It can go either way depending on the look you get. What I do hope happens is that the design stuff for Hurts comes down a little bit. Especially when you got a team that's kind of playing some zone behind you. I'm not saying you completely pull back from it because he's very effective at doing it. But
in the red zone, I like to see it more in the red zone than, at your own 20.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like when you're just kind of getting in, that's when you need to run the rock with the running backs. When you get into the red zone, then yeah, you want to make them think, okay, you got AJ down here, you got Devontae down here, you got Zach Pascal down here, and then you got the running back core with, Jalen Hurts. That's where I would like to see more of that type of concept stuff come into play. But I agree, I, hopefully we don't see the first play of the game is like a zone read.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it won't be because I'm not involved in the game plan. I'm not involved in those meetings, but you know what I mean. Like, I hope that's not what comes out of this, right? Like, I hope that last year you remember how they kind of like to get Jalen into a rhythm. They like to do that tunnel screen, and I thought they got a little too heavily reliant on that. I hope we don't see something like kind of that same thing coming into fruition this season with the zone read. Like, all right, guys, like you might get one or two opponents with this, man, but at a certain point, like film's going to get out there. People are going to catch on. Like we got to make sure we got some counters.
Yeah, and that reminds me of that Carolina game last year where it was like, man, we couldn't get away from that game plan. And I think we did a little bit of that early in the game last week too. Some of them little screen plays and all that. And there were a couple, like, let's talk about the batted balls though. Like 4 batted balls last week. That was a problem right there. One of them, I would say that, if it wasn't batted, Hurts threw into a crowded area. It was in the red zone when he was trying to go to A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I think the first batted ball to A.J. Brown, that would have been a catch. I think A.J. Brown had at least a step and a half. I think the Devontae Smith screen would have been a huge gain. I'm talking like on the all-22, when I paused it, there was like 2 or 3 wide receivers, Kelsey and Lane upfield. That would have been a big chunk. So I think most of the batted balls would have went our way, besides the one that he threw kind of in traffic, and I was glad it was batted.
Yeah, it's tough because that's one of the disadvantages when you do something like play action or you do something like an RPO is you are creating a little wedge of time there to where you can get defenders to come up and then get hands up. And you can clearly see that to Detroit, that was a coaching point about getting your hands up and trying to get into throwing lanes. And it was effective, man, because they knocked down, I count at least 3 or 4 that they definitely got their hands in on and knocked down. One of them, like you said, the A.J. Brown one was clearly going to be a touchdown. And it was like, ooh, that one hurts. Like that one was there, man. I saw it. I was like, ooh, that one hurts a little bit here. Outside of that, though, Mike, man, I'll be honest with you. The other thing that bothered me about the game plan, it was really the lack of counters to pressure. There was like no hot routes that were reasonable in terms of the time. Like you cannot have these weird elongated route developments for a hot route. Like, no, man, where's the in-breaking route? Like this should not be made hard, Nick. Like Nick, do your job. I can't even say I'm going to get demonetized. Do your job, bro. Like do your job. You and Steichen, you see them overload one side. That should be an automatic. Like Jalen, when you see that audible, you're going across the middle of the field with this. Basically, you're going to fill in that defender with the football.
Yeah.
You're going to replace the defender with the football. That's all you got to do. And it was like, man, we got to like make things a little bit more simpler here. Like this is not hard. Like this is something that's a coaching point. This is on the coaches because, man, there were some of those plays where I was watching and I was like, man, what are they thinking? Like, in what way was this going to work against pressure? Like, you're asking a lot of Jalen Hurts, man. Like this is not cool. But I mean, that seemed like our game plan is I think they had a good feeling that Aaron Glenn was going to come for them. And they were just like, look, if you see nothing with the backs of jerseys, take off. And that's coaching point to quarterbacks. Same thing they told us when we played. Like, if you see nothing with the backs of jerseys, punish them. You take off. If you can elude the rush, you take off, you punish them. It's different, though, when it's zone, Mike. So that's the part I want to get everyone to understand. If they start bringing fire zone blitzes on us, you're going to see more than likely what you're going to want to see is him slide the pocket and keep eyes downfield because that's a little different. You don't want to just take off. You see the front of the jerseys, don't just take off.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And like I said, the one play where Devontae spun his defender around, it was literally, that would have been a perfect hot route if he would have just stayed on a slant. But Devontae ran the route that was, I guess, requested for that play, which was run the slant, but fake it and then go an out route. Yes, he was open, but by that time, the 7-man rush got to Jalen, and Jalen didn't go down, but he had to avoid it. It was just long developing routes that Jalen had to use his feet. I really didn't see nothing bad when it comes to him just not throwing at the blitz. And that's what you want to do. You're sending an extra guy there, throw at the blitz. You know what I mean? Throw at the blitz. And that's where the hot read should come in. I expect a lot of adjustments. I think that we have players, smart wide receivers, even Quez and Goddard, that if they're going to play heavy quarters, we're going to have some seams open. We're going to have some spots where we get the ball into their hands. And if we can throw in stride, let these guys get some yak, I feel still good about this. And as you alluded to early, you're like Viking fans, I don't care if you're here. Your secondary is suspect. And so zone can help a suspect secondary, but as long as our offensive line gives time, I think this could be a big game. And what better game to have a huge one in a home opener?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like both of these teams were the battle of yak. I need to be quite honest about it, Mike. They were the battle of yak because Justin Jefferson had like 9 yards of yak per reception. Kirk Cousins only threw 2 passes over 20 yards. He completed both of them, by the way. Jalen Hurts had 1 completion over 20 yards, which he only had 1 attempt as well. That was that 54-yarder to A.J. Brown. So most of these guys' production actually came after the catch. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough because both of these defenses are built to do one thing, which is do not give up the splash play. Don't give up the big play. To me, you already alluded to it earlier, Mike. I've seen some people in the comment section kind of allude to this point, which is I think this game comes down to a couple of really key points. And to me, one of the big key points is going to be Hassan Riddick, Josh Sweat, Javon Hargrave. Those are the big 3. And then in smaller roles, Fletch, Milton, Tui, Patrick Johnson, Brandon Graham. We got to get home. These dudes got to win. They got to win the matchups. They got to get pressure on this guy. I got to be honest with you, Kirk Cousins was not very good versus pressure. That was the one thing I will say last week is that if he had a weakness there is that he didn't play very well versus pressure, man. He had 13 attempts, 14 dropbacks, 7 completions, only 53.8% completion rate, 136 yards. He did have a big-time throw against it, but he also took a sack. You know, he's going to give you enough time. 2.94 seconds versus pressure was his time to throw. So, I mean, he's going to give you an opportunity if you can get pressure there. My big question here is as I look at this matchup is who's going to win that matchup between Hassan Riddick, Josh Sweat, Javon Hargrave, and then if you flip this question around, you look at Minnesota's roster, you got Danielle Hunter, Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson. We're familiar with Dalvin Tomlinson because he played with the Giants for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to me, it's a matter of that, man, is that neither one of these teams wants to overcommit to sending blitzers. They'll do it. They'll do it, but they'd rather get it with a front 4. They want to send 4 defenders and get pressure on you. Both of these teams are not scared to mix up their defensive fronts. You know, Gannon, like me and you were talking backstage, you know, we were talking about the whole Twitter thing about, Gannon only sent 6 blitzes. That's actually not actually true. If you go to Pro Football Reference, you can see right away that he sent 10 for a 25.6% blitz rate, which was number 3 overall. We were the 3rd highest blitzing team in week 1. But the subtlety to that point is this. 5-man fronts where you rush all 5 defenders is technically a blitz. It's technically a blitz. So it's deceiving, but factually true at the same time. Like there's definitely like some stuff on Twitter that's inaccurate. It's going around there. What I will say is that with a 25% blitz rate, if you want to call it that, we only managed to get 6 pressures, and that's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem.
You send a blitz and you don't get home, you're exposing the secondary. Now, we did a good job. Actually, our secondary, like we talked about backstage, our secondary did a real good job covering. But I will say this, we got away with a couple, meaning Goff just missed guys. There was a couple blitzes where it was one-on-one and they had leverage. They had the step, and it was a errant pass due to the blitz. So kudos to that. Marlon T got the pressure that led to the interception. Well, that led to the deflection by Kaiser White that landed in the hands of one James Bradbury. But I wanted to talk about the pressure, right? BG, we saw a vibrant BG in training camp. First game, he only played 29 snaps, and that's understandable because of him coming back from the Achilles. But I want to see his snaps for sure come up. Hopefully Davis comes up, especially if we're getting destroyed by the run. I just think that, we got to be better on first and second down. We definitely got to be better. A lot of times on the all 22, it looked like the wide 15. It looked like highway. Like we are playing some wide 9 fronts on first down, expecting a pass, and them trap and wham plays were killing us early in the game. Minnesota definitely took note of that. Justin Jefferson, though, just speaking of him, I think a lot of people think Thielen is cooked just because, again, week one sample size is not going to be everything. Devontae will never have 0 catches again, and Thielen's 30-something yards. It won't be like that every single game. I think we got to pay attention to Thielen too, but how are you looking at trying to stop Jefferson? I did notice one thing though. Last year they didn't motion him that much, but I can see that they're making it a point to do it this year. He motioned 7 times against the Packers, and the crazy thing is, off the 7 motions, 6 of them he got targeted. Now I'm not saying he caught all 6 or whatever. I didn't look at that exact point of reference, but 7 motions thrown to 6 times. The rest of the squad, tight ends and wide receivers, motion 16 and only thrown to 2. So they're definitely trying to get Jefferson on the weakest part of your defense. They're trying to match him up with linebackers. They're trying to get him in the slot. They're moving him around constantly. How would you defend him, and how do you think Gannon is going to go about, focusing on a run, because that was the big blunder last week, but also not letting Jefferson go for double-digit catches and $150 on us?
Whew. That's a tough question, Mike. Because here's the thing: you brought it up. Seven times they put him in motion, and then they moved him all around between both outside positions, so playing the field side and playing the boundary, and he played in the slot. That's what makes it tough to bracket him. Because here's the thing. You go with that bracket coverage, and he starts off on the field side, and then he motions him over to the boundary side. Now they're 3-by-1 on you. How do you bracket on a 3-by-1? You get what I'm saying? Like, you're in trouble if you try that. That's kind of the issue you're going to have there with a player like that. That's why that type of offense has given defenses trouble in the past, right? I mean, we've heard many times about the whole Rams system and that whole McVay idea of motioning and moving guys and the way he likes to do that in his passing game matchups. The difficult answer is, do you want to match up with him? Do you want Spider to follow him? Are you going to follow him? That's the answer to it is, do you follow him, or do you just say wherever he lines up, try to disrupt the route? You're not going to stop him completely. You know what I mean? Like he's going to get a few catches. There's nothing you can do about that part of it. But can you disrupt his routes enough to get enough pressure home? Because if you get enough pressure on Kirk Cousins, he doesn't respond well to it. That's the thing. But you got to create time to do that. And I know that you've had questions, you were asking me backstage about, hey, what did I think about Gannon and the cushions that were being afforded to receivers? And I said it's a little deceptive, right? I said that you would think from the coverage we saw on Twitter and from everywhere else that we were giving up the most cushion in the league. Truth be told, we're nowhere near giving up the most cushion in the league. We gave up about 6.3 yards of cushion to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We gave up 6.9 yards of cushion to DJ Shark. We can't see Josh Reynolds' numbers because he didn't have enough targets. I will say, from my judgment of what I saw there, they like to play around a little bit with each side of the field. So one side of the field, they will bring the coverage down a little tighter. The other side, they'll play off a little bit more. Generally speaking, what I normally see is that the defensive left, offensive right, defensive left, they tend to play off a little bit there, more so than what generally speaking is the defensive right, which normally ends up being the boundary. But, obviously the boundary can be left or right. It doesn't, it just matters which hash they're on. But that's normally what you think of when you think that. So they normally play a little bit tighter in coverage to that side. It's tough, Mike. I'm going to be honest with you, man. A lot of these questions, a lot of these things are really tough to talk about because, like I said, 6.9 yards seems like a lot of room to operate. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a guy that's a big believer in playing 7 yards off a guy. But at the same time, Jahan Dotson had 8.1 yards. DK had 8.1. Curtis Samuel had 7.6. Gabe Davis had 7.5. Robbie Anderson, 7.4. Brandon Cook, 7.3. Treylon Burke, 7.1. Michael Pittman, 7.1. So, I mean, it's not just the Eagles doing this, but can you throw enough curveballs, Mike?
Yeah.
What faith do you have that at least 30% of the snaps, Gannon will mix it up and come down with some tight man coverage? How confident are you in that statement? I said 30%. I said 30%.
That's where I think we need to be around.
Yeah.
I think, I won't stamp it saying I think he'll do that, but I think that's where we need to be around. I think that, I think at times we get too, again, we're predictable in the coverages, right? Like, look, one of the blitzes we did, right? It counts as a blitz, but I almost want to smack Gannon for this blitz. Like, the alignment, like you could just tell Goff has been checking things down all day, right? You got a running back to the right of Goff. I think Hassan Reddick was the outside linebacker on this one. TJ Edwards was the mic, and you blitz Hassan Reddick, but you don't blitz him outside. You blitz him inside. Like, so he's going to go, his blitz is going to be where TJ Edwards was. And now you give TJ Edwards a responsibility to stop the running back who's just out in the flats. You're telling him to go from the middle of the field to the flats to stop a guy like DeAndre Swift who only needs 4 yards. You know, that was a gimme by the time. I mean, it was a gimme first down, and it's like, okay, you blitz, but you're blitzing Hassan on the side the running back is, making him take 2 extra steps to the middle. You know, at least if he blitzes on the edge, he has the opportunity to bat down a swing pass. You know what I mean? So you take him out of the lane he should be in. You make TJ Edwards, who's not the quickest guy, go 4 yards more than what Hassan Reddick would have had to do. And it's just like pitch and catch. That was the one blitz. Now, I like the Avonte Maddox blitzes. I like the sneak Avonte Maddox blitzes. I liked a couple of them. But that was a blitz where I'm like, I'm not giving you credit for that. You just let him pitch and catch first down. So I think it's just, there's got to be a level of complexity to just his defense in general, even when he doesn't blitz. I just think that he tends to, you know, and it happens to the best of D coordinators, but he be calling it into their hand. I think, like, you know, there's times where I'm like that 3rd and 10 run. Yeah, we didn't expect them to run the ball, but come on, bro, you can't let somebody get a first down on a 3rd and 10 run.
Yeah, you're right, and they set us up for the okie doke on that one. That's the problem, Mike, because they had Jordan Davis in. This is the 3rd quarter you're talking about too, and it was the first possession, which is the rough. First. Well, it's the most frustrating part about this, because we had a chance to put away that possession twice, and that probably would have changed the course of the tightness of that game, to be honest. But yeah, they put Jordan Davis is in there. We have that was the tackle for loss from Hassan Reddick. So Jordan Davis is in there. They try to double to Hassan Reddick and you know, or they try to double to Jordan Davis, and Hassan Reddick is like, thank you. It gets a tackle for loss back there on that one. And then they pull Jordan Davis on 3rd down because it's like 3rd and 10. So they're not expecting it, man. And they set us up for that one, bro. That little inside like draw trap play that they ran, they got us a couple times with that one. And it's very reminiscent of Doug Peterson, because Dougie used to do that a lot. If you remember, Dougie P used to love those 3rd down and long running plays.
Yeah, the one that comes in my head right away is the Sanders versus Washington, where he not only got the 10 yards, he ran for like 80 yards. You remember that one? There was like a 3rd and 10 on Washington a couple years ago. But real quick to your point, and real quick, Richard Kane Ben said, "Gate, nice hat." That young been left up there for a minute.
My bad, Richard. Appreciate you, bro.
Speaking of just everything we've been poo-pooing on Gannon, like, even a good defensive coordinator, say, you know, again, what it's a 1-game sample size with this new team, but what has me a little upset is some of the same things I was like, come on, we got to cut it out from last year is already, you know, bringing up its ugly head. The fact that golf was tied for first and getting the ball out, you know, whether that is, and again, credit to you for, you know, a lot of other DBs are playing the same amount of yards off as we are, but their quarterbacks are still not getting the ball out as fast as we are. So then again, we're playing off, and what is asked of these cornerbacks, whether it's zone, whatever it is, it's still not working because other people are playing off, but they're still not tied for first with allowing their quarterback to get the ball at their hands. All that got to be factored into, okay, guess what? We see it happen. I just don't like his adjustments on the fly. I think it takes him, and this has been my thing with him the whole time. He takes longer to say, okay, it's not working. Let me try one time. It's not working. Let me try one time. All right, now I got to stop it, you know, but it's a little too late. But we talked about this on the post game. The tackling was poor. The guys were out of position, and that is due to the fact that Bradbury, Reddick, White, and Garner Johnson is all new. So even if we had a defensive coordinator we all love, you can expect to have guys out of position and miss tackles with communication errors, because that's just the nature of a beast when you have this many new starters. So yeah. I do want to give Gannon that little bit of leniency, but it's hard because I see both sides. It's not just one game. It's like 19 games now. But I understand that any D coordinator with this many new pieces would have the communication errors. And again, if you had the things that we had done to us, meaning they ran down our throats. They were able to get the ball out of their hands fast. They were clean at the quarterback position. And then you got on the flip side, the worst tackling defense. We should have lost that game, but we still won. It just shows that there is talent and things were going right the majority of that game. And now it's not just the Lions. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. I was saying it all day yesterday during the Giants and Carolina scene. I thought it was only the Lions.
Turns out Detroit's at least a decent football team. I don't know how good they are per se yet because, but they're at least decent. We can say that at least. That team is not the same Detroit team that played the year prior. It's a better football team. They're starting to actually win close games. So I'll say this. It's tough because on one hand, you look at Jared Goff, you held him under 220 yards passing. He was under 60% completion rate. You picked him off for a pick six. You know what I mean? Like he had 3, I think, consecutive 3-and-outs followed by the pick six. So there's a period where he was absolutely dominated. With that said, Mike, I mean, I think what you're alluding to is what you're saying is that it's really difficult to get a pass rush home if you're just going to give up anything that's 3 or 4 yards. If you're just going to basically say we're going to play 6-7 yards off of you and we'll give you 3 or 4 yards, it's just we need to rally to the football and make the tackle. We're going to count that almost like it's a running play. I get what you're saying, which is then it becomes difficult because it's kind of like, that's cool, but like you paid all this money, big free agent signing with Hassan Reddick, right? Extension to Josh Sweat. Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox are making bank. Got all this money invested on the defensive line, but are you really is the style defense really giving your defensive line a chance to earn the money that you're paying? And I think that's the conflict of interest right now with the Eagles. And I don't know that this is the best game, man, to go heavy man coverage on. I don't. I really don't know that this is the best game to go heavy man coverage with. But you got to at least, at some point in the game, you got to give it a shot, man. You got to see if these do, you paid money to James Bradbury too. Darius Slay's getting paid too. Avonte Maddox just got that brand new check. Gardner Johnson's playing for a check. Marcus Epps is out there. He wants revenge on Minnesota since they decided that they'd rather let him go than claim who did we cut that year? Remember we had the old dude from Minnesota, 2019.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
I can't think of his name anymore either. Sendejo,
yeah, the one who knocked out Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, and then we took Epps. But I mean, you look at that and it's like it's kind of difficult, right? Because you have money invested on both sides. Like, I will say this, like, I don't know if you have to play man above 30%, but maybe move those corners up to about 5.5, 6 yards instead of 6.5, 7 yards. Maybe give these guys a chance to play shallow zone and get down and stop some stuff at the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it, man. But it's just like I'm indifferent to Gannon's system. It's not the system I particularly like. I'm just not going to sit here and say it can't be effective. It's not my preference.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it again, when you look at, and here's the thing, and to circle back to DK Metcalf was giving up 8-point yards, and a lot of people were around our ballpark of yards of separation at the line of scrimmage, and even more. But here's the thing. The Lions kept it third and short all day. Here's the difference between our defense and another defense. That same team that was averaging, 8 yards off the ball at the line of scrimmage per receiver, DB to receiver, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. They were probably doing that mainly on 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 12s, where we had 3rd and shorts. Why? Because we were getting gashed on 1st and 2nd down for runs. So here's my thing. If they run for 6 yards on 1st down, now it's 2nd and 4. If you were 2nd and 4 and 3rd and 4 and you're giving up that 6.9 and 7.1, well, guess what? It's a pitch and catch for a 1st down compared to you keeping them in long distance. Hey, 7 yards off the ball ain't that bad if it's 3rd and 12. You know what I mean? But again, their passes were was an extension of the run game because the run game was so good. They had a lot of manageable. What they go in the second half? 6 of 8 on 3rd down?
Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. They were gashing us on plays that shouldn't happen. That's the worst part of it. And like some of it was a passive nature to the play calling. Like, and I'll admit it's difficult when you get up 17 points because at that point, like what you don't want to do is to get beat over the top. You don't want to send
deep,
the house
nothing
to
deep.
feet over the top and then make it back to like a more manageable game situation. But at the same time, it's like, man, we couldn't figure out a zone blitz. We couldn't figure something out here, man. Like really, like we couldn't come up with anything. Like it was like, man, we can't maybe walk the corners up a little bit, send that 4-man rush and maybe give them 2.5 seconds to get home. Like we couldn't come up with anything. It's like, man, like it's tough, man, because like I still think it's way too early to fire Gannon, but at the same time, it's getting really difficult to defend him.
Yeah, look, have we ever seen a coach fired before game 6? Like, I don't think, well, I got to go ahead and research what was the earliest coach to be fired. I don't think it's ever this early. But real quick, shout out to Dante Hill with the $2 super chat. He said, so in other words, you hate Gannon.
I'm not going to say that, man. I'm not going to say that. Dante, you know me, man. You've been rocking with me for a long time. But I'm not going to say that I hate Gannon. I don't love this system, man. And I know that John McMullen tried to like walk back his statements to say that John McMullen was like, it's not that I hate necessarily the system. I hate the players we have thinking this system works with them. Like saying that, like, Hassan Reddick isn't Khalil Mack. He's trying to like walk back the statements a little bit, but it's like, Hassan Reddick's still pretty good, man. Like, I don't like the system outright. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I don't love the system. I think Gannon's a smart dude. I'm not coming at his football acumen and his intelligence or anything like that. I don't love the system, man. I think the coverage is entirely too soft. And even when you got great corners like Slay and you got Bradbury and you got Maddox, a lot of good that does you, man, if, number one, you're not tackling. Because, on one hand, if you win first and second down, you're in third down, and they dump the ball off for 4 yards, and you make a play on, and make the tackle. Now it's 4th and 5, or it's 4th and 3, or 4th and 4, whatever. No big deal, right? They're punting. You're getting the ball back. It did what it's supposed to do. It's just that too often we saw the opposite happen, right? Like Mike, we talked about it, right? They try to go with that 5-man front, and they did it in the Reynolds catch. They came with that 5-man front, the 50 front. They took both edges and came after them, so Sweat and Reddick. And then Reynolds hit us for a 20-some yard play. And it was like,
got beat, yeah.
That's because we're in a zone system. So where now we have one less player to drop into coverage. So that's one less guy to take up space in that zone. So now there's a little bit more area to sit down in the zone and make a play. And it's like, that's the challenge of it, man. It's like, you have to get home. You have to get home in those situations. You got to get home.
You bring an extra 1 or 2. It's not just to say hurry up and pass, because if he's passing the ball before you get there, there's probably a favorable matchup for the offense. That's why he's getting the ball out. So we got to get home. I think that BG is going to have more snaps against the Vikings this week. I think that's going to help us. I have the feeling, and here's the thing. There was people, and I was saying it all before this the season opener. Miles Sanders about to have one of them games. I didn't just say it on Battlebirds podcast right before we did it, where I picked Miles Sanders to have, close to 100 yards or have 100 yards and a touchdown, which they cheated him as 4 or 6 yards. All that being said, I got this feeling with the defensive line getting 3+ sacks. So I really feel like the combination of us, I think we're going to make it a point to stop the run. And that is where the issue was. The Lions had way too many manageable third downs. I think we're going to be active early, stopping the run. And listen, to be honest, I'd rather them try to run the ball on us more than pass the ball, because, again, I do think that with Justin Jefferson, people forgetting about Thielen, Cousins can sling the ball if we're giving him too much time. But I had this feeling where we shut down the run, or we slowed down the run, not shut it down. Dalvin Cook is a really good running back, but we slow it down to where we feel comfortable sending certain blitzes and playing our type of coverage, and them 3rd and 8 pluses. That 3rd and 8 plus is where you want to be. 3rd and 8, and guess what? Your 6.9 yards of cushion ain't bad, because if just make sure they don't go past the sticks, But in today's game, it's different. Everybody want to go for it on 4th and 2 now. You know what I mean? Dougie P done started a revolution. Dougie P done changed the game. Nobody, listen, if you at midfield, the majority of coaches now, they go for 4th and 1, 4th and 2. They ain't playing no more.
Yeah. And it's, it stinks, man, because like we have the talent. There's talent on this defense. It is a lot of new pieces. We are installing like 5 new starters. And that's just new additions, really, because I don't even think that counts guys like Marcus Epps, who's a first-time starter, if you will. So, I mean, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of new pieces coming into the defense, with Kaiser White. Then you got, even backups that are going to play significant roles. Jordan Davis, right? I would assume at some point Nakobe Dean is going to get more and more snaps. Like, he started off with barely even touching the field last week. I got a feeling you're going to see – I would guess you're going to see more intense snaps tonight from Nakobe Dean. Ooh. I think they're going to slowly rotate it in, but I do think it's going to be a gradual increase. It's going to keep happening. I just want to see the creativity, Mike. That's what I'm asking for from Gannon. Where is the creativity? Like, we get it, man. We get it. You got a lot of new pieces. You got to get them to gel together. But where is the wrinkle? Where is the design that nobody sees coming? Right? Yes. Like, where is
I did that last week.
You want to drop Reddick? You want to drop Reddick or Sweat into coverage? Where's the wrinkle to that then? Okay, you drop one in coverage, you drop them in the flats. Where's the guy coming? Where is the zone blitz at? Where's that fire blitz? Where's Nakobe Dean coming up the middle on a blitz? Where is something to confuse things, to make people go, crap, we got to pay attention to make sure they're not dropping these dudes and try to, because then you start getting quarterbacks second guessing like, crap, they just dropped somebody else is coming. Where's it coming from? The only thing that I saw he did really well, I really love the way that he used Avonte Maddox and Gardner Johnson off the edges.
Yes.
I liked what I saw there. That was like, okay, like, all right, like early in the game, you and me both were like, oh, okay, like this is a little different. And then it didn't continue in the second half.
It stopped quickly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I just like, you're right. He's like, Gate, you wanted a wrinkle? I blitzed Vontae Maddox twice. Exactly. I like that wrinkle, but that can't be your only wrinkle. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah, like someone else just said, like, where are the stunts? Like, you don't even have to blitz, but where's the stunt? Where is the T over E stunt, bro? Where is the TT stunt? Where is anything to throw the, so even when you're looking at the running game, right? It's easy if I know that you're right on me, but if I got to count for loops and stuff like that, it becomes harder to match up with what you're doing. Yeah. Like, and to be real, I'm going to be fair to Gannon because some of this isn't him. Some of this is Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. Like, what happened, guys? Like, come on now. Y'all making way too much money to get blown off the football like that. Like, Marlon Tuipulotu, Milton Williams, and Jordan Davis should not be the A-team out there stopping the run. Like, come on, Fletch. You're better than that. I mean, I'm not like, look, it's never really been Javon Hargrave's game. It's not what he's best at. He's too gapped in Pittsburgh. He's played nose tackle. Like, he can do it at an average level, but he's not exceptional at it. Fletch, besides somebody like Jordan Davis, should be a wrecking ball down there. Because if you double to Jordan Davis and you're going to leave Fletch one-on-one with somebody in the running game, man, it should be like a comedy going on. And I saw that on one play. There was one play they doubled to the big guy, to Jordan Davis, and Fletch absolutely destroyed that dude. I mean, he shedded him like he was nothing and shut down the run. But it's like, give me 4 or 5 of those, Fletch. I need 4 or 5 of those examples, man.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, Fresh?
What's up, Fresh?
Yo, what's going on, man? Sorry for being late, but y'all already know that's how I be all the time. Got a lot going on, but I'm here now. Yo, what's going on?
He's too fancy. He's too fancy. He gotta come on his own time.
Nah. I ain't Hollywood at all. What's up, though? What we talking about, man? What's up, chat? Yo, what's going on, man? How we feeling?
We're talking about how Fletch took $14 million after getting a bunch of dead money, which, Mike, I was very verbal about. I didn't like that contract. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This doesn't make any sense. But they did what they did to clear cap space. If they didn't, there was going to be something activated in the contract that was going to pay Fletch more. It was just then we followed it up where it didn't seem like there was like any kind of like real, like there wasn't like there was like 4 other teams interested, and like we're handing them $14 million. And then we talked about Javon Hargrave, and Fletch is basically getting blown off the ball last week. And like we can say everything we want to say about Jonathan Gannon, which is deserved, but hey man, Fletch and Hargrave need to get in there and stop the run at times too. Like, it shouldn't be as soon as they pull Jordan Davis off the field that, what I'm saying, we're getting gashed for 10 yards a run.
Yeah, especially when, like you said, they the big boys getting over $10 million a year and all that kind of stuff. So, it's frustrating to me, but at the same time, I'm frustrated with that, but I'm also frustrated with the fact of maybe they shouldn't play as many snaps as they did. Maybe we should let Jordan Davis get in there for more snaps. other than what was it, like 12 snaps, 12% of the snaps?
22 snaps for Davis. 29 snaps for Brandon Graham, which is not that he doesn't deserve it. I think they're trying to work him back in for the Achilles. But I would like to see Davis snaps north of 22, BG north of 29, and that's not the D line, but even the Kobe Dean only got in for 3 snaps.
So when you look at it, our better guys are stopping the run, like a Brandon Graham. He's great on the outside of stopping the run. And Jordan Davis did not play the amount of snaps that they needed to stop the run. Today you're dealing with a whole different beast. We understand what Swift does, and Swift is Swift, but he ain't cool. Like, you dealing with a whole different monster coming out that backfield, man. Not gonna lie to you. And you got to stop him early. Like, you got to stop him before you get any type of momentum. You got to stop him in the backfield, and that starts with the defensive line, and also having some run blitzes in there. Just blitzes saying, go after the quarterback, but if he hands it off, you make sure that you grab that running back. It's to me, it's certain things that you're going to have to do. I don't know about y'all talked about how fast Kirk Cousins get the ball out of his hands. And you're going to have to play. You don't have to play it all the time, but you're going to have to play press defense with these cornerbacks, especially on third down. Like, you cannot give Kirk Cousins the cushion because he will shred you up. Like, let's keep it a bean. We have not beat him for the last 5 or 6 games.
6-3 overall.
I'm talking about way back when not way back, but back when he was with Washington.
I'm saying 6-3. That in 9 games, 6-3 against us.
That's not good at all. You get what I'm saying? You like, and then I understand a lot of people say, "Oh, he doesn't do good on prime time, yada yada yada," but he doesn't also play Jonathan Gannon's defense on prime time.
John, we're talking about Kurt not doing good in prime time right now. John don't do good on Sundays. Oh wait, it's Monday though. It's Monday though.
Hey, it's Monday, and well, once again, we know what he do when he respects a quarterback, and Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that you can respect. I mean, the numbers just show it.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be scared to come after this guy, or are you going to just sit there and let him pick you apart? And to me, that's the most frustrating thing. Is you see that whatever you're doing is not working, and you still continuously just let these quarterbacks pick you apart. Let's keep it a being. Kirk Cousins is better than Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a nice little day against us. Like,
in the second half.
No, first half.
It was a lot of junk yards, to be fair.
Yeah, the first quarter he was balling though. Like, first quarter,
wasn't. He had like 8 yards passing. It was bad, man.
It was all runs.
It was all runs.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it was bad. He was not good at all in that game. He really didn't get anything until the fourth quarter. It was kind of late in the third. He hit the 120-yard play on us, and then he got us a little bit.
And I am going to give him some slack for that, Jonathan Gannon. I mean, I understand you want to prevent, like, you got your guys, you got the lead, but sometimes you just want to keep applying pressure just to end the game early. You know what I mean? Let them know we ain't come here to play. Like, we ain't come to Detroit and play. And they had a lot going because the Hard Knocks thing, we already talked about that. And then the crowd was crazy. I thought it was going to be like 60% Eagles. No, it was all blue in there. Like, so, shout out to them for that. But now you home and don't get booed.
And LB's there. LB's already feeling himself right now. I was talking to him a little bit. He did say he was going to hop in here, but the last time I messaged him, he's feeling himself, so I'm not going to ask him to come in here.
He actually went live for a little bit when I was on my way home. When I was on my way home, he just went a bit a little live. But shout out to LB being there, man. I can't wait next week, man, to go to this game. But as of right now, when I'm looking at it, like, I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel it's going to be a shootout. And it's going to be one of those things, not like the Super Bowl, but it's going to be one of those things. A turnover is going to change the game and decide who's going to win the game.
Yes, and you know where it's going to be? A muff pump by Jalen Reagor. I had a couple people tell me that, and I said, listen, though, someone just said it in the chat now. I did a call in yesterday or the day before, and someone was like, listen, it's going to be – I said, what's your score prediction? And it wasn't a young guy. He was probably – but he's a teenager. He's like, my score prediction is 24-21 or 27-24. I said, oh man, so we win by a field goal. How we get that field goal? He gonna be like, listen, it's gonna be nerve-wracking. We're gonna have the ball with like 2 minutes left. Our offense is gonna get stopped. We're gonna have to punt it to them, and the muff, we recover right there, and then we get the free field goal for the win. I said, bro.
Hey.
Bro.
Yo,
Mike, Mensa's their GM. He gonna lemon law us. He gonna lemon law Howie with Rager. Nah, man, this stuff's defective. You gotta take his back.
Yo, if that happens, I need whoever that is so he can predict the numbers for me next week. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like I mean, it's almost as close as me predicting, a pick. I ain't gonna pat myself on the back about that. I'm just saying. I did predict it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you stole my guy. But good stuff. You went first.
Stole my guy.
But real quick though. Shout out to Jung Money with the $2 super chat. He said nickname for Jordan Davis: the Hawk, the Line, the Bus Stop. What y'all take on that? We liking any of them?
I like Big Baby.
Big baby.
I like Big Baby. Like that. He's really a big kid. Like you could like see it in his cheeks. Like when he like in his interviews, like he love that. You can tell he love to have fun. And he's just a big kid, man. I like Big Baby.
I like that too. Kevin with the $2 super chat. He said there was no point in blitzing last week. Too quick. I mean,
but here's the thing.
We talked about this, and I think this is where it all stems from. As Gay City broke down that other people were the same distance from the line of scrimmage cornerback-wise as us, if not further, but they weren't facing the third and shorts. And the reason it was third and short is because they were killing us against the run. So again, as Fresh said, as soon as he got in here, it's a different monster, Dalvin Cook. If on first down, he's rushing for an average of 5 to 6 yards to carry, if every third down is under 4 yards, well, then you know, it's pitch and catch. If you come with the house and you don't get home on 3rd and 4, well, there's going to be somebody in the flats open for 3 or 4 yards. So I think it's a little bit of both. But
I would say there's still a point to blitzing, just because number one, Jared Goff is notoriously bad versus first pressure, and it's not that I understand what you're saying, that Jared Goff gets rid of the ball so fast it's almost impossible to get home with the blitz, but he's also suspect to making really bad decisions with the football, like a pick six. You know what I mean? Like, so I still think you got to bring pressure, even if you know it's not going to necessarily get home, just because you're gonna force the issue and hope for a bad read on the football. I will say that you can't sell out the blitz every single third down. Like, you know, there's got to be some balance to when you're bringing it, but at the same time, man, like everybody's been saying, man, it's a situational awareness thing that lacks at times, to where it's like everyone keeps asking me, like, what's the key to the game? What's the key? The key to the game is to win first and second down. So that way we're not facing 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 4, and we're not playing 6 yards off the receivers and they're just pitching and catching out there for first downs. That's the key to the game to me, because if you get them in a 3rd and long, you might give your pass rush enough time to get home with a 4-man front. The other key to the game is when you get a guy in a 3rd and 10, hey, Jonathan Gannon, you should have been able to look across at Detroit and go, they probably have no faith in Jared Goff at all. There might be a possibility they're going to run this ball more than I'm thinking here. And that's what they did to us, man. That 3rd and 10 conversion in the third quarter, Mike, I wanted to punch my computer screen when I was watching it. It's like, yo, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? We got gashed like this. That game would have been sealed right there.
Yeah.
If you would have taken the ball there, taken the ball right down.
They scored on that drive. They scored on that drive.
Yeah, exactly. And then we dropped an INT on that possession.
Oh, yeah, Slay.
Hargrave finally breaks free on a pass rush, gets right in Goff's face. Goff throws a give me. It is like, oh, my God, Slay would never drop this in any other situation, and he dropped it.
That was. I think he was thinking about what he wanted to do before he got the ball, because you got a guy over there that just already got a pick 6, so he's probably in competition with him, trying to outdo him, but you got to catch the ball first. Slay, he definitely let one go right there. But that's the thing. We have playmakers. It's not like we don't have playmakers. And can I say this? I don't know how y'all feel. I understand. I really don't understand even once or twice. But if that happens, that happens. I don't want to see Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick in coverage. Like what is that? It's
I went back and looked at that for you, Reese, because you definitely said that before.
Like, I don't want to see that.
So Josh Sweat fell back into coverage twice. 30 pass rush opportunities, 28 he was in on, which would lead you to believe that he dropped into coverage twice there.
Right.
Hassan Reddick had 28 pass rush opportunities and dropped into coverage 23 times. Or, I'm sorry, rushed 23 times, which would lead you to believe, Mike was like, 23 times! Would lead you to believe he played in coverage 5 times. I will say that it's a staple of the defense, but to be fair, Minnesota runs very similar concept to what we're doing here. And Danielle Hunter fell into coverage 1 time, and Zadarius Smith fell into coverage 1 time, compared to the 5 times we dropped Hassan Reddick. And Zadarius Smith is technically their jack linebacker, just like Hassan Reddick is ours. So
again, to show you,
but
he should be played as Zadarius Smith is being played, as Fresh is alluding to. All right, I'll give you that 1 drawback, but 5-1 is big time difference. We're paying him to get the quarterback. Go get the quarterback. And again, there was a couple times where they blitzed him, and I just think they did him a disservice. Let him come off that edge. You know what I mean? Let him come off that edge, and hopefully he has to get doubled, which lets some interior come.
And here's the thing, Gates. The guy that you're talking about, he wasn't second in the league in sacks the last 2 years. So this is a guy, this is what he does. Like, put in the work. You don't call a plumber to lay your carpet down. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously.
I don't know what's the price, man.
Hey, how cheap you doing it? How cheap is he doing it?
Gates a cheap bull, man.
Exactly. But I get what you're saying, Reese. You're right. Like, you pay the man that kind of price. You're paying him for his ability to get to the quarterback, not to take away the flats. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, to be, they want to be this. We had this whole discussion, Reese, where you jumped on, but it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it. I was talking to Mike, and I said, I could understand dropping a guy once or twice into coverage if you're going to be multiple in the way that you approach the rush. So if I drop this guy, I should be bringing somebody from somewhere that you're not expecting. So that way, if you're the quarterback and you see Hassan Reddick or you see Josh Sweat drop in the flat, you're like, crap, they're bringing someone from somewhere. Where's it coming from?
Right.
There should, my opinion, you try to overload one side. So generally speaking, you'd probably want to come from the side you already got one of those guys coming from. But what do I know? I mean, I'm not Jonathan Gannon. I'm not in that meeting room. I don't know. But I mean, this is, Reese, I mean, I've been around a lot of great defensive minds. I've had the opportunity, during my time coaching, to where I was always mostly an offensive guy. I did coach defensive backs for a little bit, but all the great defensive minds I've ever been around, I got to tell you, man, they would have issue with dropping Hassan Reddick 5 times in the coverage.
Yeah. Again, if you want to be creative and just, drop them back in on one play where you're sending a weird blitz, you're sending the house to the left, you drop Hassan Reddick back 1 time, that's cool. That's kind of what they did with Zadarius Smith. But 1 time is your wrinkle. 5 times is an ugly wrinkle that you're just trying to put cream on to get away. Real quick, though, Marcus Kane, though, he said with the $5 banger, he said, Mike, where that crown at? I only got a little bit. And it's kind of good I got a little bit for the simple fact I got to go to work tomorrow at 4. And I got to wake up at 4 in the morning tomorrow. So, I mean, I'll drink some beers tonight, but I don't know if I'm going crown heavy. And Mr. 89 with the $2 super chat said Vikings replacing Mike Zimmer was their blessing. Sometimes the voice gets stale, whether it's a defensive coach and all that. And right now the Vikings are 1-0, just like the Philadelphia Eagles. And we're going to see what happens. Real quick though.
Well, Mike, let's discuss that one for a second, because I think it's an interesting question. Mike Zimmer is built in that Bill Parcells model of coaching. Bill Belichick is still somewhat in that model coaching, which is authoritarian. It's my way or the highway. You mess around with me, I'll put you in the doghouse. You won't see the field. Type of coaching. But the league,
it's going to happen in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the league is a lot different. The league it's changed a lot. Do you think that model can still flourish in today's NFL as the head man, as the head coach? Because I do think you have to have an enforcer. Someone on your coaching staff's got to be the D head, and it's got to be the enforcer. But should that be the head coach anymore? Or do you think players are just not? They're not going to put up with that from the head coach anymore. The head coach has got to be like the middleman.
Yeah, I think a lot of things change. These players on social media more, they got more of a voice. They, everybody's just a little bit be in their feelings at times. You know what I mean? It's definitely a changed game. Like, look, 20-year-olds are gonna be 20-year-olds, but like, you know what I mean? Look at Kyler Murray and his video game stuff. Like my man they threw a birthday party for the dude, and he just locked in his room playing Call of Duty. And when food gets delivered to him, it's knock on the door and they go get his food. I mean, like they try to put a clause in his contract, like, bro, you got to study and lay off the games a little bit. The social media, the gaming world, the virtual stuff, it's crazy. And I think, just in general it is, but I think you need a coach that still can garner respect. Be a player's coach, but earn the respect. I think anybody can you could be a coach that can give harsh criticism if you're willing to take it yourself, if you're willing to look at things the right way. And also you got to, again, earn the respect. I don't like when any coach comes in with the Joe Judge mindset, right? Like, I just got here and now it's my way or the highway. What? Show me
running
something.
Laps.
You know what I mean?
Running laps.
Running laps.
Come
and
on,
he didn't
bro.
prove nothing. Look at Dayball. Look at Dayball. I mean, say what you want about the Giants. They got a decent defense. Dayball got them at 2-0. And now I guarantee you, if Dayball says something tough now, he got everybody's attention because that locker room is already fell in love. Giants ain't been over 500 in 5 years, let alone 2-0. That locker room love him, and so you got to earn it. And some people can earn respect in a week. Some people will take a year. Some people will never earn it. The Matt Patricias of the world, the Joe Judges, they were coaches for years and never earned respect.
That LB video where you run laps. You run laps. Yo, I was on the ground laughing on that one where LB was telling Joe Judge, you need to go run laps.
That was great.
Yo, that's tough, man.
I mean, it's kind of a thin line because you're dealing with grown men.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like you're dealing with kids. You know what I mean? Now, some of these are kids, becoming grown men. You get what I'm saying? But you got levels of things that you just can't tolerate. You know what I mean? Like, to me, all right, and this is all Pittsburgh, really, I'm about to talk about the Steelers, is the Claypool and the whatchamacallit situation with them. They just rather be on TikTok and practice and all that kind of stuff. And then you got the A.J. Brown Facebook Live situation in the locker room. That's a sanctioned situation. And that's not supposed to, like, it's like an unwritten rule that you don't expose what's going on in the locker room, especially live. You get what I'm saying? And he was talking crap about the Patriots, and they wound up getting their asses kicked. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that's bulletin board material. So, to me, I mean, you got to watch the things you do. I mean, we had our own situations too with the what was the dude, the linebacker, man, that didn't come to the preseason game. And
Nigel Bradham, wasn't it?
No, it was Bradham. He just didn't come to a preseason game. It's like, what are you doing? And then they sent the card out for him, and he still didn't go. These things, to me, a lot of people was getting on me when I made a video about it, and I said it's unacceptable. And people was like, well, it's just a preseason game. Yeah, but what if he does it in a real game? Because he already did it in a preseason game and nothing happened. So, like I said, man, these are grown men, but at the same time, grown men can be punished too. You get what I'm saying? If you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. I agree. So, taking it back to the Vikings and the Eagles, let's talk a little offensive. Give me the number of pass attempts we think Jalen Hurts will throw, not completions, total pass attempts. Give me a round where you think, not saying what we need to do, just how this game is going to play out in your head. Are we going to see blah, blah, blah.
I'll go first. First of all, that ski, what's going on, man? I'm going to say 37 pass attempts. I think, like I said, it's going to be a shootout. Now, I think we're going to run the ball too, but I think he throws stuff 37 times.
All right. Gate?
I'm going to say probably a little less than that. I'm going to say that ideally you want them between 28 to 35 attempts in a game.
You do.
He threw 32 last week. I do see where Reese is going, which this game might require more offensive output above 35 points. 31 technically the offense, but up 38 in total. I'm going to say 34 attempts. I think it'll be just under 35.
Yeah, I was gonna say about a third. I was my exact word, my exact number was gonna be 35. I like how Fresh said, I'm not gonna give you the in between. I'm gonna go in because when you talk about ballpark, you go 25, 30, 35, 40. So I'm gonna be exact though, 37. A lot of people were saying 25 to 28 to 32 to 31. I think 35. Once you get past 35, that means you know it's a little
We're in the
shootout, which is
shootout. We're in
it's
the
a
shootout.
little shootout. Maybe we're trailing by a little bit more than 7 at one point of the game. It could still be early in the game, not late in the game. But again, 6.2 yards per carry. The Packers were able to finagle on the Vikings defense. They just couldn't do too much more with it. They only got like 118 yards because they only ran the ball 18. When you're down 17, you can't run the ball in the third quarter unless you're the Lions. You just never stop running. Then they stay true to themselves. But I think as much as Gates said it early, they're secondary skeptical. And that's why they play the amount of zone they play to help it out. They play quarters. They don't want to get beat deep. So I think there's going to be opportunities with the playmakers we got in Jalen Hurts. So I see a 30, 35-ish type attempts. I think we're going to be a lot more accurate. People are not counting the batted ball. Look, people are looking at Jalen Hurts, not his 243 and 90 rushing yards. They're saying this man only completed 19 to 31 or 19 to 32. You got 4 throwaways, which were smart throwaways, and like 4 batted balls. So when PFF does his what do they call that? What does PFF call it when they faction all that out? Come on, Gate.
I don't know what statistic you're looking for.
Department.
So no, when PFF comes up with their adjusted completion percentage.
Adjusted completion rate.
Yes, that's what I couldn't think of that. So that's them saying throwaways are not throwing the ball away is not being accurate. It's making a decision to throw it away. Batted balls are not saying you're not accurate. They got batted down to the line of scrimmage. Who knows if they were going to be dimes or not? So when you get the adjusted completion percentage, he was 79. So the throws he did make, he was accurate with. I think there's going to be less batted balls, less throwaways. He's going to be efficient. I see around the 30 mark, but man, run Booby Sanders. He averaged 7.4 last week. They're giving up 6.2. Let's go back to back with a touchdown for my guy Miles.
I thought he ended up with 5.2 at the end of the game.
Did he?
Yeah, I think in the beginning.
It was 7 plus.
I thought that was in the beginning.
Well, he had 13 carries for 96 yards. Dude, 94 yards. That's a lot.
That is a lot. That is.
It's like 7 something.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
I said 5 in my video, and then somebody corrected me. I was like, "Oh, dang!"
Yeah, I thought it was 5 too. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was 5 too. Could be wrong.
I slack. I just said 5 plus because I knew it was a lot. So sometimes I don't be doing my research and I'm deep. I didn't do all my due diligence, but I'm 8 minutes in the video. I ain't gonna stop now. So I'm like 5 plus yards. So
to me, how many rushes you think Miles should have? Over 20?
He's never gonna get that.
Yeah.
He got that like once in his career.
I'm gonna say he'll be between 12 and 16.
You such a tweener, man.
I mean, you can't be exact on the number, like I mean, like game circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it'll be. I think he'll be, like I said, I think he's going to be low side will be 12. I think the high side will be 16, 17 carries.
And while we on Jalen Hurts, man, I do want to. I hope that Nick Sirianni, Howard Roseman, whoever, they wrote a letter to the league, man. Those hits that Jalen Hurts was taking, they was all hits. Like when he's sliding, he's getting pummeled. He only got I seen a good 4 to 5 late hits, and they only got called for 1.
Yeah,
it was even late hits when he clearly gave the ball to Miles Sanders. You clearly could see he don't got the ball, and he's getting hit. It's like
that was a really bad one. How you hand the ball off and still get hit? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like they're head hunting for Jalen Hurts, bro. They're trying to get him out the game.
Did you hear Jamel Singleton on the film study? What he said?
No.
There was a I don't know if it was a zone read or an RPO play, but he handed the ball off, and he was breaking down. Yeah, he was breaking down what happened, and then Jamel Singleton kind of looked at what's his name, old dude for the Eagles that does the film stuff with him, and he was like, "I'm not going to tell you what I think about that hit."
Oh, Duffy, Fran Duffy.
Yeah, Fran. Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna tell you what I think about that hit.
Yeah, like it's dirty.
Yeah.
Like that's a dirty hit, and it should have been called. There's no way that if that's we all know if that's Tom Brady or something like that. Like, come on now, like you getting an extra 15 on top. Like
you might get it. You're getting a fine.
You get ejected. You get ejected. Like
get him out of here. But real quick,
Lattimore got ejected because he yelled at Tom Brady last night. He got in Tom Brady's face. That's why he got ejected. They cheat, They cheat. I ain't gonna lie, they cheated for Tampa Bay, man. They really did, man. Because first of all, that one draw that wasn't a pick. They called that same one in the I want to say it was a Chargers game. They called that same one not a pick, like same exact way. I don't know, man. They be cheating for the ball, man. They be cheating for him for a long time, though. I always felt that way.
Yeah, they always.
I'm in there letting air out of all the balls. But what? This ain't regulation.
When in doubt, find a way. Yeah,
all the way down to the what was the tuck rule? Like, come on now, man. Like now you making rules for the kid. Like it wasn't even a rule then, but. Like, I don't know. That shit, it's just weird, man.
The rest are out there spotting the ball going, man, this shit's flat as hell.
Yeah. But listen, at the end of the day, right now, we hold the Saints pick. So as Hurt Swag said, listen, we going to
we weren't going to lose.
We're going to take any Saints. Yeah. But listen, though, we around that time now. So let's start it up, man. We're going to give our offensive and defensive player of the game to stand out. So you know what that means, chat. Do your thing. Let us know who's going to stand out on offense and defense and your score prediction for Monday Night Showdown. 1-0 Vikings versus the 1-0 Eagles. We'll start with Fresh since he came. He
No. I'm going to go last because I won last week. So I'm going to go last.
All right. Wait. Mine was pretty good, too. I said 100 yards in a touchdown.
I didn't say yours wasn't good. I didn't say
no. My offensive one, my defensive one wasn't good, but my offense was 100 yards and a touchdown for Sanders. He had 96.
But what did I say? I said AJ Brown is going to have a $120, no touchdown.
Yeah. You had both. You got them both. I forgot. I was just thinking about
I'm going to go last. I'm going to go last on this one. I'm going to let y'all go.
Go ahead, Gate.
All right. Man, I want to pick this dude back-to-back weeks, man. Devontae, you burnt me last week, bro. You burnt me. I need a makeup, man. I need to make up Devontae, bro. I didn't even get a catch log, bro.
I hope they don't force it though. I just don't want them to force it.
I think there's going to be some element to that, Reese. If I'm being honest, I do think that they're going to look early and downs to him. I'm going to say Devontae comes out with about 5 or 6 for 80 in a touchdown. Defensively, Son Riddick, man, bro, we need something. Hey, man, you playing just across the bridge from where you grew up, bro. Come on, man. Come on, I want to see it. Gotta let it loose, bro. We need something from Son Riddick tonight.
All right. And your score prediction?
Man, I hate score predictions, bro. All right, I'm going to say that this game will be somewhat of a high-scoring game, but lower than what people think. I'm going to say 28-24 Philly.
28-24 Philly. I ain't mad at that. So I'll get my score prediction now. First, I got 30-24 Philly, 30-24. You're like, dang, we only hold them to 24. I'll take that, Gannon. Go ahead and give me that. 30-24, Eagles get the dub. On the defensive side, I'm going to have to go ahead and say, I want to pick a secondary guy because I think they're going to be disruptive. But I said I have a feeling we're going to get some sacks. You took Hassan Reddick, so I'm going to go ahead and take. Man, give me Hargrave. I got Hargrave. Listen, we poo-poo both the D tackles. Hargrave is gonna play, and he's gonna get a sack and a half. So I think 3+ sacks is coming tonight. A sack and a half for Hargrave. That middle's gonna be disruptive. I'm gonna go Hargrave. If I want, that's what I'm gonna do on the defense. On the offensive side of the ball, man, I love picking the pass catchers, but I'm gonna stay on the ground, man. Miles Sanders. I'm going back to back. Listen, he's going to have not 100 yards because, they only going to give him that 13 to, whatever. But he's going to have a total.
He had 94 last week.
Yeah, they did me dirty. Look, he's going to have a total of 100 yards because I'm talking rushing and receiving. He's going to have over 100 yards when you combine them and another touchdown.
You hear that?
Miles
Mike say he
Sanders.
got 100 yards receiving and 100 yards rushing.
No. Combine. You're trying to get me. So there it is. And in that being 30-24 score, go ahead, Fresh. Who you got?
All right. Well, first of all, I do want to say this. You picked Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is the free giveaway. Y'all got about 45 minutes to go. You can go comment on my last video. No, not my last video. I did another video. Do's and don'ts. And you get your prediction on Miles Sanders. Whoever wins, I get a free shirt, man. Free shirt. Over 50 comments, you get a free hat with it. All right. I'm going to go. I think everybody need to get these ready. It's going to be a nail biter. I'm going to go 33-31, man. We pull it out. We pull it out with a defensive stop, man. And they're trying to drive to get a field goal. And my defensive player makes the play of the game. I'm gonna go Gardner Johnson, the newest Eagle. I think he's gonna be all over the field in this game. I think he's gonna be on Dalvin Cook. I think he's gonna be on Justin Jefferson. Because you really don't want. You're gonna try to size Justin Jefferson up with Avonte Maddox because that's a favorable. That's a favorable matchup for him. Smaller guy, you know what I mean? Yes,
5'9".
Yeah, exactly. So he can try to get busy with him. So, but I think Johnson is going to make some plays, man. If not one or two plays to sell and play for to win. Offense, I'm gonna have to go with. I picked AJ last year. Last week I ain't gonna pick him again. I'm gonna go with DG, man. I'm gonna go with Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert just tears the middle of the field up. Those linebackers can do nothing with him. Literally, they can't do nothing with him. So I think he eats. I think he eats.
He would have had more last week if they didn't have to use him so much for blocking.
Yeah, they had to use him.
They could have picked up the blitzes without him. He would have had a big game.
Right. I agree. So I think he goes. I got him having about 90 yards. I don't think he cracks the beam, but I got him having 5 catches for 90 yards.
Yeah.
5 catches, 90 yards. Sorry, I had to take that call real quick.
Oh, you good?
But yeah, man, I like it. And listen, Fresh was right last week. He got the pick with James Bradbury, and he also got the big game from AJ with no touchdowns. We going to see what happens, but we got to come away with a dub, man. The NFC East. Listen, I heard a lot of people, some people on Twitter talking about, is this a must-win game, this and third? Listen, there's no such thing as a must-win game in week 2. It's still a long season. Anything can happen. But I will say the Giants beating the Panthers late in the game and the Cowboys beating the Bengals did say, dang, man, this NFC East is tough. It's close. It's not a must-win. There's no such thing as that week 2, but let's handle our own business.
It's crazy. I just made a video saying, this don't look like the NFC least no more. You know what I mean? And I posed the question: is this a must-win? Because you do want to stay in the driver's seat. You don't want to. To me, the Giants should never ever be leading in the NFC East, ever. And you have a chance. You have a chance to stop that. Now, it's not if we lose, which I'm not saying that we are, but it's not. Of course, it's how. But it's not the end all be all. You still got 14 other games. But let's keep it tall like City Hall, y'all. Last year, we did not beat any good teams.
We got to start beating some.
Yeah, we got to like every good team we went against, the Oaklands, the LAs, the Tampa twice. We took all L's. You got to start beating good teams, Nick Sirianni. Let's keep it real. This would be Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni's best win if we come away with this. Period. And it's not even debatable. It's not even debatable at all. And you need this win. To me, you need this because it's just you got to be good teams. You got to be better quarterbacks.
Fact. I think it's more what Kristen said. It's a must not get embarrassed type game. You lose 31-30, you're upset. In the moment, you're upset. But it's context. But if we come out and let them walk all over us again defensively at home, well then, yeah, I mean, it's time to be
Look,
like, what's going
I'll
on?
be honest, man. I'm excited to see how our guys do in terms of Lane Johnson, in terms of, the big guy against Danielle Hunter, Sedarius Smith, and DJ Wanham. Those are very athletically gifted edge rushers. They got a lot of size, a lot of link to them, man. Like, it's a good
And they
matchup.
always won. They always won because I looked at bag last, and y'all know me. Y'all know how I feel about this offensive line. I think that they're the best in football, all across the board. But that showing last week was horrible. If it wasn't Jalen Hurts, like, we would have got blown out by the Lions. Like,
Yeah,
it was too many. It was too many just mixed blitz. It was not being picked up right, and it was too many free escapes. If you get what I'm saying, too many guys just getting there free untouched, and because of Jalen Hurts' ability, that's the only reason why he wasn't sacked.
I mean, to put it simple, those dudes. Now, mind you, this was Green Bay's offensive line, not Philly's, but 8 blitzes, 4 sacks, 11 pressures, 25.6 pressure rate.
they were missing
Every 4
Bakhtiari
drops
too.
had somebody in your face or moving you off the spot.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and so this is a great bounce back game from the O-line. Got to go ahead and do what we need to do. Listen, we'll be talking. We'll talk backstage. We'll talk about. We'll ask Simone what's going on too. We don't know. I don't know if y'all interested in doing a post game. It's going to be late.
I don't know. Might do that tomorrow, man.
We might do something tomorrow. But we will catch you guys throughout the whole week. I will see you guys in about 30 minutes because I'm going to be live for the game. I'm going to be tired tomorrow, especially if things don't go according to plan. So listen, if you want to chop it up with your boy, go ahead. See y'all at halftime.
I just say I see y'all at halftime. Hopefully we talk something good. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. But listen, if you want to come through for the play-by-play, I'll be live. And until next time, we got Eagles content all through the week, breaking the game down, good, bad, ugly, sad. Check out all 3 channels. We are live on all 3 channels, 503 people watching combined. Hit the like button, subscribe to all the channels, Philly Mike, Philly Fresh, Gate City Sports, and we'll catch you on the next one. We out.
Yo,
Peace.